Meanwhile, David met with his friend Jake Harrison at a coffee shop downtown. Jake was a project manager at a competing logistics company, and they'd known each other since college. "I still can't believe this happened," Jake said, shaking his head. "You were Thomson Logistics' best asset. Everyone in the industry knows that." "Apparently not everyone," David replied, stirring his coffee absently. "My brother painted me as incompetent, and my father believed him." "What exactly did Marcus say happened with the Martinez account?" "Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you." David looked up. He claimed I mishandled the shipping schedules, causing a delay that cost them a major contract. "But Jake, I reviewed every detail of that shipment personally. The delays weren't on our end. They were due to port congestion in Long Beach." "Do you have documentation?" "I did, but I don't have access to the company files anymore." David's voice grew bitter. "Marcus probably destroyed any evidence that would clear my name." Jake leaned forward. "David, what if I told you that word is already getting around about the changes at Thomson Logistics? And not in a good way." "What do you mean?" "Some of the major clients are getting nervous. They worked with you for years, built relationships with you. Now Marcus is trying to take over those accounts, and from what I'm hearing, he's not making a great impression." David felt a flicker of something he hadn't felt in days. Hope. "Which clients?" "Well, I heard that Global Manufacturing is reconsidering their contract, and there are rumors that Precision Industries isn't happy with the transition either." "Global Manufacturing. I worked with them for 3 years. Built their entire distribution network from scratch." "Exactly. And now Marcus is trying to tell them how to run their business? You know how that's going to go over?" David was quiet for a moment, then looked at Jake with new determination. "Jake, I think it's time I started my own company while you're talking. You've got the experience, the knowledge, and frankly, the reputation." "What would you call it?" David thought for a moment. "Phoenix Logistics. Rising from the ashes of Thomson Logistics. I like it. And David, when you get this off the ground, you'll have my support. There are a lot of people in this industry who respect what you've accomplished." Back at Thomson Logistics, Marcus was having his first major crisis. He'd just gotten off a difficult phone call with Robert Sterling, the CEO of Global Manufacturing. "Jenny," Marcus called out. "Get in here." Jenny Martinez hurried into the office, carrying a stack of files. "Yes, Mr. Thompson. I just got off the phone with Robert Sterling. He's threatening to cancel the Global Manufacturing contract. He claims we're not meeting the service standards that were established under the previous arrangement." Jenny shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, about that. I've been trying to discuss the service protocols with you. David had very specific arrangements with Global Manufacturing that I don't want to hear about what my brother did or didn't do. I want solutions. What's the problem?" "Well, sir, Global Manufacturing requires weekly status reports and direct communication with the operations director. They also have very specific routing requirements that need to be maintained. David used to handle this personally." Marcus waved his hand dismissively. "I don't have time for weekly reports. We have systems in place. Sterling needs to understand that Thomson Logistics operates efficiently because we don't micromanage every shipment." "But sir, that's not how David handled it. He built these relationships by being personally involved." "Jenny, I'm not David. I'm not going to babysit clients. If Sterling can't adapt to professional business practices, maybe he should find another logistics company." Jenny stared at him in shock. "Sir, Global Manufacturing is one of our biggest accounts. They generate nearly $2 million in annual revenue. And there are plenty of other companies that would love to work with Thomson Logistics. We're not going to compromise our operational efficiency for one demanding client." After Jenny left, Marcus called his father. "Dad, I need to talk to you about the Global Manufacturing situation." "What situation?" "Robert Sterling's being difficult. About the transition. He's making unreasonable demands about personal service and weekly reports. I think we need to consider whether this account is worth the hassle." There was a long pause on the other end. "Marcus, Global Manufacturing has been with us for 3 years. They're one of our most profitable accounts." "I understand that, Dad. But they're being unreasonable. They want the same hand-holding that David provided, but that's not efficient business practice. Hand-holding, Marcus? That's called customer service. David built those relationships for a reason. Dad, trust me on this. If we set the precedent that clients can dictate how we operate, we'll be at the mercy of every demanding customer. Sometimes you have to be willing to walk away from difficult clients. Richard was quiet for a long moment. Marcus, be very careful. With this, global manufacturing isn't just any client. I understand, Dad. But Thomson Logistics will be stronger when we focus on clients who appreciate our professional approach. After hanging up, Marcus felt confident in his decision. He had no idea that his conversation with Robert Sterling had prompted the CEO to start looking for alternatives. 3 weeks later, David was working out of his apartment, setting up Phoenix Logistics. He'd managed to secure a small business loan and was in the process of leasing office space. His phone rang with a number he didn't recognize. Phoenix Logistics. This is David Thompson. David, this is Robert Sterling from Global Manufacturing. I heard you started your own company. David's heart skipped a beat. Mr. Sterling. Yes, I just launched Phoenix Logistics. Good. I need to discuss our logistics needs with you. We're not satisfied with the service we're receiving from Thomson Logistics since the transition. I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Sterling. What seems to be the problem? Your brother? He's arrogant, unresponsive, and frankly, he doesn't understand our business needs. He told me last week that if we weren't satisfied with Thomson Logistics' professional approach, we should find another company. David closed his eyes. He said that. He did. So I'm calling you, David. You understood our business. You knew. Our requirements, our timelines, our priorities. When can we meet to discuss moving our account to Phoenix Logistics? David felt a surge of emotion. Mr. Sterling? I would be honored to work with Global Manufacturing again. Excellent. About tomorrow morning, I'll bring my logistics team and we can discuss the transition. After hanging up, David sat in stunned silence. Then he called Sarah. Sarah, you're not going to believe this. What happened? Robert Sterling from Global Manufacturing just called. They want to move their account to Phoenix Logistics. David, that's incredible. That's a huge account. It gets better. He told me that Marcus essentially told them to find another company if they weren't satisfied with Thomson Logistics service. Sarah laughed. Marcus is digging his own grave, and mine is being resurrected. Sarah, this could be the break. Need. The next morning, David met with the Global Manufacturing team at a conference room he'd rented for the occasion. Robert Sterling was there with his logistics director, Carol Kim, and their supply chain manager, Tony Rodriguez. David, Robert began, let me be direct. We've worked with Thomson Logistics for 3 years, specifically because of you. When you left, we hoped your brother would maintain the same level of service, but he didn't, Carol added. He's been dismissive, unresponsive, and frankly, he doesn't seem to understand our business model. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Tony nodded. I need a logistics partner who understands that our manufacturing schedule is tight, our customers are demanding, and our success depends on reliable, timely delivery. I understand completely, David said. That's exactly why I started Phoenix Logistics. I want to work with companies that value partnership, not just vendor relationships. That's what we want to hear, Robert said. Can talk specifics. Our annual logistics budget is $2.3 million. Can Phoenix Logistics handle that volume? David felt his pulse quicken. Mr. Sterling, I'll be honest with you. Phoenix Logistics is a startup, but I have 7 years of experience managing accounts exactly like yours. I know your routes, your requirements, your peak seasons. I can guarantee you'll receive the same level of service you received when I was at Thomson Logistics. But with the personal attention of a smaller company, that's exactly what we want, Carol said. When can we start the transition? Ken. Begin immediately. I'll need about 2 weeks to finalize office space and hire additional staff, but I can start managing your shipments right away. Robert smiled. David, you've got yourself a deal. We'll begin the transition next Monday. As the meeting ended and the global manufacturing team left, David sat alone in the conference room, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had just happened. His phone buzzed with a text from Jake Harrison. "How did it go?" David texted back. "Just landed a $2.3 million account. Phoenix Logistics is officially in business." That afternoon, Marcus was in his office when Jenny knocked on his door. "It's Thompson, I need to speak with you immediately." "What is it, Jenny?" "I just received a call from Global Manufacturing. They're terminating their contract with Thompson Logistics, effective immediately." Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. "What? Why?" "They said they're moving their account to Phoenix Logistics." "Phoenix Logistics? I've never heard of Phoenix Logistics." Jenny looked uncomfortable. "Sir, Phoenix Logistics is David's new company." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. "David's company?" "Yes, sir. Apparently they specifically requested to work with him again." Marcus sat down heavily in his chair. "Get my father on the phone now." Minutes later, Richard Thompson was on the line. "Marcus, I just heard about Global Manufacturing." "What the hell happened?" "Dad, I can explain. Can you explain how we just lost a $2.3 million account? Can you explain how my son, who you assured me was incompetent, just stole our biggest client?" "Dad, David is undercutting us. He's using inside information about our clients to steal business." "Inside information?" Marcus David built that relationship over 3 years. He knew that account better than anyone. But Dad, no. Marcus, I want to know exactly what you said to Robert Sterling. I want to know why he felt the need to find another logistics company. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "I told him that if he wasn't satisfied with our professional approach, he should find another company." The silence on the other end was deafening. "You told our biggest client to find another company?" "Dad, he was being unreasonable. He wanted weekly reports, direct communication, special handling. He wanted the same service his company had been receiving for 3 years." "Marcus, that's not unreasonable. That's customer service." "I was trying to establish professional boundaries." "You were trying to establish professional boundaries with a client who generates $2.3 million in annual revenue?" "Marcus, what were you thinking?" Marcus felt his confidence crumbling. I thought we should focus on clients who appreciate our efficient operations." "Our efficient operations?" "Marcus, our operations are only efficient if they keep clients happy. If they don't, then we don't have a business." "Dad, I can fix this. I can call Sterling and no Marcus. You've done enough damage. I'm handling this personally." The line went dead. Marcus stared at his phone, then slowly set it down. For the first time since he'd taken over David's position, he felt genuinely afraid. That evening, Richard Thompson sat in his home office, staring at a photograph of his 2 sons. The weight of his mistake was crushing. He picked up his phone and called David. "David, it's your father." "Dad." David's voice was cautious. "Son, I owe you an apology. A big one." David was quiet for a moment. "Dad, I appreciate that. But no, David, let me finish. I made a terrible mistake. I let Marcus convince me that you were the problem when clearly you were the solution." "Dad, what's done is done. I'm moving forward with Phoenix Logistics." "No, you are, and I'm proud of you for that. But David, I need you to know something. I've been going through the files, the real files, not the summaries Marcus gave me. The Martinez account, the Henderson deal, the Portland shipment, none of those were your fault." David felt a mix of vindication and sadness. "I tried to tell you that, Dad. I know you did. I should have listened. Marcus manipulated the reports. David, he made it look like you were responsible for problems that were either beyond your control or caused by his interference." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that Marcus has been sabotaging you for months, positioning himself to take over your role. And I was too blind to see it." David was quiet for a long moment. "Dad, why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to come back, David. I want you to come back to Thompson Logistics. I'll make Marcus step down, and you can have your old position back. You can have anything you want." "Dad, I can't do that." "Why not? This is your family's company." Your birthright. Because I don't trust you anymore, Dad, and I don't trust Marcus. You fired me based on lies, and now you want me back because I'm succeeding on my own. Richard was quiet for a long moment. David, I understand why you feel that way. But this company needs you. Dad, the company needed me 3 weeks ago. But you chose to believe Marcus instead of me. Now I have my own company, and I'm going to make it work. What if I made Marcus apologize? What if I guaranteed you wouldn't have to work with him? Dad, this isn't about Marcus anymore. It's about me building something of my own. Something that no one can take away from me. Richard sighed heavily. I understand, son. But if you ever change your mind, Thompson Logistics will always be here for you. I know, Dad, but Phoenix Logistics is my future now. 2 months later, David was in his new office, a modern space in downtown Phoenix, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the mountains. Phoenix Logistics now had 8 employees and was handling logistics for 12 major clients. His assistant, Maria Santos, knocked on his door. David, you have a call from Jessica Chen at Precision Industries? David smiled. Precision Industries was another former Thompson Logistics client. Put her through. David, this is Jessica. I hope you remember me. Of course, Jessica. How are you? I'm frustrated, to be honest. We've been working with Thompson Logistics since you left, and it's been a disaster. Your brother doesn't understand our inventory requirements, and we've had 3 major delays in the past month. I'm sorry to hear that, Jessica. David, I'm calling because we want to move our account to Phoenix Logistics. Can you handle our volume? David looked out his window at the Phoenix skyline. Jessica, I can handle your volume, and I can guarantee you'll receive the same level of service you received when I was managing your account personally. That's exactly what we want to hear. When can we start? How about next Monday? Perfect. David, I have to tell you something. Word is getting around the industry about what happened at Thompson Logistics. Everyone knows that Marcus pushed you out, and everyone knows that you were the real talent there. I appreciate that, Jessica. There's more. I've been talking to other logistics managers, and there are at least 6 more companies that are considering switching to Phoenix Logistics. You've got a reputation for excellence, David, and that's something that can't be faked. After hanging up, David sat back in his chair. His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. How's the empire building going? David texted back, growing faster than I ever imagined. I think I'm about to land 6 more major accounts. It's incredible. How does it feel to be the most successful logistics company in Phoenix? David smiled as he typed his response. It feels like justice. Meanwhile, at Thompson Logistics, Marcus was having the worst day of his professional life. He'd just finished a conference call with 3 major clients, all of whom had expressed dissatisfaction with the company's service since the transition. Jenny Martinez knocked on his door. Mr. Thompson, I need to speak with you about the Precision Industries account. What about it? They're terminating their contract. They're moving to Phoenix Logistics. Marcus felt his stomach drop. That's the 3rd account we've lost this month. Sir, I think we need to discuss the underlying issues. Since David left, we've been hemorrhaging clients. It's not about David leaving. It's about clients being unreasonable. Jenny looked at him with barely concealed frustration. Sir, with respect, the clients aren't being unreasonable. They're expecting the same level of service they've always received. Jenny, I don't need a lecture about customer service. Maybe you do, sir. Because at this rate, we're going to lose half our client base by the end of the year. Marcus stood up angrily. Jenny, you're out of line, am I? Sir, David built this operations department from nothing. He knew every client personally, understood their needs, and delivered exceptional service. You've been trying to manage these accounts from behind a desk, and it's not working. I'm the operations director now. I don't have time to hold every client's hand. That's exactly the problem. Sir, you see customer service as hand-holding. David saw it as relationship building. Pointed toward the door. Get out of my office, Jenny. Sir, I'm trying to help you understand. Get out. After Jenny left, Marcus called his father. Dad, we need to talk. What is it, Marcus? We just lost Precision Industries. They're moving to Phoenix Logistics. Richard was quiet for a long moment. That's the third account we've lost to David's company. Dad, I think David is using unethical tactics. He's targeting our clients specifically. Marcus, David isn't targeting our clients. Our clients are choosing to work with him because he provides better service. It's not true, Dad. I've been working hard to maintain these relationships. Working hard? Marcus, you told Global Manufacturing to find another company if they weren't satisfied. You've been dismissive with Precision Industries for months. You've alienated Metro Shipping. Oh, is that working hard? Marcus felt cornered. Dad, I've been trying to establish professional boundaries. Professional boundaries. Marcus, these clients have been with us for years. They expect personal service, and you've been giving them corporate indifference. I thought that's what you wanted. Professional, efficient operations. I wanted competent leadership, Marcus. I wanted someone who could maintain the relationships that David built. Instead, I got someone who systematically destroyed them. Dad, I can fix this. Give me more time. More time. Marcus, we're losing clients faster than we can replace them. At this rate, Thompson Logistics will be out of business within a year. That's not true, Dad. We still have plenty of clients. We have 23 clients, Marcus. When you took over, we had 31. We've lost 8 clients in 2 months. Marcus felt the weight of those numbers. Dad, I can turn this around. By continuing to tell clients that they're being unreasonable? By continuing to ignore their specific needs? I'll change my approach. I'll be more attentive to client needs. Marcus, the problem isn't your approach. The problem is that you don't understand what these clients need. David understood because he took the time to learn their businesses, their challenges, their priorities. I can learn that too. Can you? Marcus, David spent 3 years building the Global Manufacturing relationship. He knew their production schedules, their peak seasons, their routing requirements. He understood their business almost as well as they did. I can do that too, Dad. Really? Tell me about Precision Industries' inventory management system. Marcus was quiet. Tell me about Metro Shipping's seasonal fluctuations. Still quiet. Marcus, you've been managing these accounts for 2 months, and you don't know basic information about their operations. How can you provide them with the service they need? I've been focusing on the big picture, Dad. Strategic oversight. Strategic oversight doesn't maintain client relationships, Marcus. Personal attention does. Understanding their needs does. Being responsive to their concerns does. Dad, I understand that now. I can change. I hope you can, son. Because if you can't, Thompson Logistics isn't going to survive. 3 months later, David was reviewing the quarterly reports for Phoenix Logistics. The numbers were staggering. The company had grown from 1 employee to 15 they were handling logistics for 18 major clients. With a quarterly revenue of $3.2 million, Maria knocked on his door. David, you have a visitor. Richard Thompson is here to see you. David looked up, surprised. My father? Yes, sir. Should I send him in? David hesitated for a moment. Yes, send him in. Richard Thompson entered the office looking older than David remembered. The confident businessman who had fired his son 3 months ago was gone, replaced by someone who looked tired and defeated. Hello, David. Dad, this is unexpected, I know. I hope you don't mind me stopping by. Of course. Not. Please, sit down. Richard sat in the chair across from David's desk and looked around the office. This is impressive, son. Really impressive. Thank you, David. I came here to tell you something. Thompson Logistics is in trouble. We've lost 14 clients. In the past 3 months, our revenue is down 60%. David felt a mix of satisfaction and sadness. I'm sorry to hear that, Dad. Are you? Because those 14 clients all moved to Phoenix Logistics. Dad, I didn't steal those clients. They chose to work with me because I provide better service. I know that, David. And you have every right to compete for business. That's not why I'm here. Then why are you here? Richard took a deep breath. I'm here to ask for your help. David was stunned. My help? Marcus is destroying everything we built, David. He's arrogant, unresponsive, and he doesn't understand the logistics business. If this continues, Thompson Logistics will be bankrupt. Within 6 months, Dad, what are you asking me to do? I'm asking you to come back. I'm asking you to save the family company. David leaned back in his chair. Dad, you fired me. You chose Marcus over me. You believed his lies over my truth. I know, and I was wrong, completely wrong. And now that I'm successful, you want me to give up my company to save yours? I'm not asking you to give up Phoenix Logistics. I'm asking you to consider a merger. David's eyebrows raised. A merger? Thompson Logistics and Phoenix Logistics become one company. You become the CEO, and Marcus, ... Marcus will step down. What about you? I'll retire, David. I'll step back and let you run the combined company however you see fit. David was quiet. For a long moment, Dad, why would I want to merge with a failing company? Because Thompson Logistics still has assets. We have warehouse space, equipment, and established contracts with suppliers. More importantly, we have the Thompson name, which still means something in this industry. The Thompson name that fired me 3 months ago? Richard winced. David, I know I hurt you. I know I made a terrible mistake. But Thompson Logistics is still your family's legacy. No, Dad. Phoenix Logistics is my legacy. I've built this company from nothing. Every client, every employee, every success, it's mine. I understand that, David, and I'm proud of what you've accomplished. But imagine what you could do with the combined resources of both companies. David stood up and walked to his window. Dad, there's something you need to understand. When you fired me, you didn't just take away my job. You took away my trust. You took away my belief that family means something, David. I'm not finished. For 7 years, I gave everything to Thompson Logistics. I built that operations department. From nothing. I worked 60-hour weeks. I traveled constantly. I made Thompson Logistics my life. And when Marcus decided he wanted my position, you let him destroy me. Richard's voice was barely a whisper. Son, I'm sorry. I know you are, Dad. But sorry doesn't change what happened. Sorry doesn't give me back the sleepless nights, the humiliation, the feeling that my own father thought I was incompetent. You're right. I can't change what happened, but I can try to make it right. David turned back to his father. How? By asking me to save the company that threw me away? By offering you the chance to lead the company that should have been yours from the beginning? It's too late for that, Dad. Is it? David, you could have everything you've always wanted. Full control of Thompson Logistics, plus everything you've built with Phoenix Logistics. David sat back down. Dad, what happens to Marcus in this scenario? Marcus will step down. He'll receive a severance package and move on to other opportunities. He's agreed to this? Richard was quiet for a moment. Marcus doesn't know I'm here. Dad, you can't make this decision without Marcus. It's his company too. Actually, David, it's not. I own 70% of Thompson Logistics. Marcus owns 15%, and the remaining 15% is held in trust for you. David was surprised. I still own 15%? You've always owned 15%. That was part of the succession plan I established when you and Marcus joined the company. The succession plan that Marcus manipulated to get me fired. Yes, the succession plan that I should have followed properly.
David
was quiet for a long moment. Dad, I need to think about this. Of course, take all the time you need. But I want you to understand something. If I did agree to this merger, it would be on my terms. Complete operational control, final say on all major decisions, and a guarantee that Marcus has no involvement. In the day-to-day operations, agreed. And I want a public acknowledgement that my firing was unjustified. Richard nodded. You'll have it. Yes. And I want to know exactly what Marcus did to manipulate those reports. I'll give you everything, David. All the documentation, all the evidence of what Marcus did. After Richard left, David sat alone in his office, staring out at the Phoenix skyline. His phone rang. It was Sarah. What did the meeting with your father? Go. He wants me to merge Phoenix Logistics with Thompson Logistics. He wants me to become CEO of the combined company. Wow. How do you feel about that? Conflicted. Part of me wants to tell him to go to hell. Part of me is intrigued by the opportunity. What does your gut tell you? My gut tells me that I don't need Thompson Logistics. Phoenix Logistics is successful on its own. But Thompson Logistics is still a family legacy. If I don't save it, it's going to disappear forever. David, this is your decision. But remember, you built Phoenix Logistics because Thompson Logistics wasn't good enough for you. Why would you want to go back to something that wasn't good enough? Because maybe I can make it better. Maybe I can turn it into something worthy of the Thompson name. Or maybe you'll lose everything you've built trying to save something that's beyond saving. That evening, David drove to his father's house. It was a large estate in Scottsdale that he'd visited countless times as a child. Richard answered the door personally. David, I wasn't expecting you. I've made my decision, Dad. Come in, let's talk. They sat in Richard's study, surrounded by decades of business awards and family photos. Dad, I'll consider the merger, but I have conditions. Name them. First, I want to see the financial records for Thompson Logistics. Everything I want. To know exactly how bad the situation is. Done. Second, I want a detailed explanation of how Marcus manipulated those reports. I want to understand exactly what he did to get me fired. I'll provide everything. Third, if I agree to this merger, Marcus is out. Completely out. No ceremonial position, no consulting role, no involvement whatsoever. Richard hesitated. David, Marcus is my son too. And I'm your son too, Dad. But that didn't stop you from firing me based on his lies, you're right. If you agree to the merger, Marcus will have no role in the company. Fourth, I want a public apology, statement acknowledging that my firing was unjustified and based on false information. Agreed. And finally, I want you to step down immediately after the merger. I want complete operational control with no interference. Richard was quiet for a long moment. David, that's everything I've worked for 32 years to build. Dad, you already lost everything you worked for. Thompson Logistics is failing. Your choice is to let me save it or watch it disappear. You're right. If you agree to the merger, I'll step down and give you complete control. Then we have a deal. But Dad, I want you to understand something. I'm not doing this for you. I'm not doing this for Marcus. I'm doing this because the Thompson name deserves better than what Marcus has done to it. 2 weeks later, David was reviewing the financial records of Thompson Logistics in his father's office. The numbers were even worse than he'd expected. The company was hemorrhaging money, client relationships were destroyed, and employee morale was at an all-time low. Jenny Martinez knocked on the door. Mr. Thompson, your father asked me to give you these files. Thank you, Jenny. Actually, can you sit down for a minute? I'd like to ask you about something. Jenny sat down nervously. Of course, Jenny. I want you to tell me exactly what happened. While Marcus was in charge. Don't worry about being diplomatic. I want the truth. Jenny took a deep breath. Mr. David, it was a disaster. Marcus ignored client concerns, dismissed employee suggestions, and made decisions without understanding the consequences. Give me specific examples. Well, when Global Manufacturing requested their weekly status reports, Marcus said it was a waste of time. When Precision Industries asked for routing changes to accommodate their new facility, Marcus said they needed to adapt to our system, not the other way around. What about employee morale? Terrible. 3 of our best logistics coordinators quit. Marcus created an atmosphere where people were afraid to speak up or offer suggestions. And the financial situation, getting worse every day. We've lost so much business that we had to lay off 6 employees last month. David nodded grimly. Jenny, if I take over Thompson Logistics, would you be willing to stay and help rebuild the operations department? Jenny's face lit up. Everyone in this company would be thrilled to have you back. You were the heart of Thompson Logistics. Thank you, Jenny. That means a lot. The next day, David called a meeting with his father and Marcus. Marcus arrived late, looking defensive and angry. So this is the great David Thompson. Come to save the family business, Marcus said sarcastically. Marcus, sit down, Richard said firmly. Dad, I can't believe you're going through with this. You're going to let David take over everything we've built? Everything we've built? David said calmly. Marcus, you've destroyed everything we built. Thompson Logistics is failing because of your incompetence. That's not true. The market is challenging, and some clients are being unreasonable. Stop. David interrupted. Marcus, I've seen the financial records. I've talked to the employees. I know exactly what you've done to this company. What have I done? I've been trying to run an efficient operation while dealing with demanding clients and disloyal employees. You've been arrogant and dismissive. You've ignored client needs and alienated employees. You've taken a successful company and driven it into the ground. Marcus turned to his father. Dad, are you going to let him talk to me like this? Richard looked at Marcus with disappointment. Marcus, David is right. He failed his operations. Director, failed. I've been doing my best to your best. David stood up. Marcus, your best included manipulating reports to get me fired. Your best included lying to our father about my competence. Your best included sabotaging accounts that I had built over years. Marcus went pale. That's not. I didn't. Dad. Showed me the evidence, Marcus. I know exactly what you did. The Martinez account problems were caused by port delays that you blamed on me. The Henderson contract issues were due to changes you made without consulting anyone. The Portland shipment delays were caused by routing decisions you made to save money. Was quiet. You manipulated the data to make it look like I was responsible for problems you created. You systematically destroyed my reputation to position yourself for a promotion. David, I was trying to help the company. You were trying to help yourself. Marcus, and in the process, you nearly destroyed Thompson Logistics. Richard spoke up. Marcus, David is going to take over Thompson Logistics. You'll receive a severance package, but your employment is terminated immediately. Marcus stared at his father in shock. Dad, you're firing me? Yes, Marcus. I should have done this months ago, but this is my company too. I've worked here for 5 years. In 2 months as operations director, you've undone most of the progress we made in those 5 years. Marcus turned to David. You planned this, didn't you? You started your own company just to steal our clients and force me out? Marcus, I started my own company because you got me fired. I built Phoenix Logistics because I had no choice. And our former clients chose to work with me because I provided better service than you did. This isn't fair. Fair? David's voice rose. Marcus, was it fair when you manipulated those reports? Was it fair when you convinced Dad to fire me? Was it fair when you tried to destroy my reputation? Marcus had no answer. Here's what's going to happen, David continued. Phoenix Logistics and Thompson Logistics are merging. I'm becoming CEO of the combined company. You're out. And everyone in the industry is going to know that Thompson Logistics is back under competent leadership. Marcus stood up angrily. You think you're so much better than me, David, but you'll fail too. This industry is harder than you think. Marcus, I've already succeeded. Phoenix Logistics has 18 major clients and $3.2 million in quarterly revenue. I've proven that I can build a successful logistics company from nothing. And now you're going to destroy everything I've worked for. Marcus, you already destroyed everything you worked for. I'm just cleaning up the mess. After Marcus left, David turned to his father. Dad, I want to make something clear. This merger isn't about reconciliation. This is a business decision. I'm saving Thompson Logistics because the company has value. Not because I've forgiven what happened. I understand, David. Good. Because starting tomorrow, Thompson Logistics is going to operate very differently. The next morning, David stood in the main conference room at Thompson Logistics, addressing the remaining employees. Jenny Martinez was there, along with the logistics coordinators, customer service representatives, and administrative staff. Good. Morning, everyone. As you know, I'm David Thompson, and I'm taking over operations at Thompson Logistics. There was a palpable sense of relief in the room. I want to start by acknowledging that the past few months have been difficult. We've watched clients leave, colleagues get laid off, and morale decline. That ends today. Several employees smiled. Thompson Logistics is merging with Phoenix Logistics to create a stronger, more competitive company. We're going to rebuild our client relationships, improve our operations, and restore the reputation that Thompson Logistics had before the recent ... Difficulties, Mr. Thompson, said one of the logistics coordinators. What about the clients we lost? Are they coming back? Many of them are. Global Manufacturing has already agreed to return. Precision Industries is considering it. And I'm confident that once word gets out that Thomson Logistics is under new management, other former clients will want to discuss resuming their relationships. What about staffing? Asked Jenny. We're going to rebuild the team. I'm bringing over some key people from Phoenix Logistics. We're going to rehire the people who were laid off if they're interested in returning. Mr. Thompson, said another employee, what's going to be different this time? David smiled. Everything. We're going back to the principles that made Thomson Logistics successful. Exceptional customer service, personal attention to client needs, and respect for our employees. Over the next 3 months, the transformation was remarkable. David implemented the same client-focused approach that had made Phoenix Logistics successful. Personally reached out to former clients acknowledging the problems they had experienced and offering to rebuild the relationships. Robert Sterling from Global Manufacturing was the first to return. David, I have to admit, when your father called and told me you were back at Thomson Logistics, I was skeptical. But after working with you for the past month, it's clear that the company is in good hands again. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. Appreciate your willingness to give us another chance. David, let me ask you something. How did things go so wrong with Marcus? David considered his answer carefully. Mr. Sterling, Marcus is intelligent and well-intentioned, but he didn't understand that logistics is a relationship business. He focused on operational efficiency at the expense of customer satisfaction, and you won't make the same mistake. Never. Our client's success is our success. That's not just a slogan, it's how we operate every day. 6 months after the merger, David was reviewing the quarterly reports. Thomson Logistics was not only profitable again, but growing rapidly. They had regained most of their former clients and added several new ones. Employee morale was at an all-time high, and the company had expanded to 35 employees. Sarah knocked on his office door. David, you have a call from Marcus. David was surprised. He hadn't spoken to his brother since the day he was terminated. Put him through, David. It's Marcus. Marcus. This is unexpected. David, I wanted to call and, well, I wanted to apologize. Apologize. For what I did to you, for getting you fired, for manipulating those reports. For everything. David was quiet for a moment. Marcus, what prompted this call? I've been watching what you've done with Thomson Logistics. The company is more successful now than it ever was when I was there. And I realized that I was wrong about everything. I was jealous of your abilities, and I let that jealousy drive me to do things I'm not proud of. Marcus, I appreciate the apology, but it doesn't change what happened. I know it doesn't. But David, I want you to know that I'm proud of what you've accomplished. You took a failing company and turned it into the most successful logistics operation in Phoenix. Thank you. David, I have a favor to ask. What is it? I've been looking for work, and, well, your reputation in the industry is gold. If you were willing to provide a reference, it would mean everything to me. David was quiet for a long moment. Marcus, you manipulated data to get me fired from my own family's company. You nearly destroyed everything I had worked for. You want me to help you find another job? I know it's a lot to ask. It's not a lot to ask, Marcus. It's impossible to ask. David, I know I don't deserve your help. But Marcus, let me explain something to you. When you got me fired, you didn't just take away my job. You took away my faith in family. You took away my trust in the people who are supposed to care about me most. David, I'm sorry I've moved past what you did, Marcus. I've built something better than what you took away from me. But that doesn't mean I'm going to help you do to another company what you did to Thomson Logistics. You don't think I've learned from my mistakes? I think you've learned that your approach didn't work. But I don't think you've learned why. It didn't work. What do you mean? Marcus, you called to apologize, but the first thing you did was ask for a favor. Even now, you're trying to use our relationship for your own benefit. Marcus was quiet. If you had called just to apologize, with no ulterior motive, I might have been willing to consider helping you. But you've proven that you haven't really changed. David, that's not fair. Fair, Marcus. I've spent the last year rebuilding everything you destroyed. I've worked 8-hour days to restore client relationships that you damaged. I've earned back the trust that you threw away. And you think it's unfair that I won't help you get another job. I just... I thought. You thought that because we're brothers, I would forget what you did. You thought that family obligation would override professional responsibility? David, we are family. Yes, we are. And that's exactly why what you did was so devastating. If a stranger had manipulated data to get me fired, it would have been a business setback. But when my brother did it, it was a betrayal that cut to the core of who I am. Marcus was quiet for a long time. David, is there anything I can do to make this right? Marcus, you can learn to succeed on your own merits. You can build your own reputation instead of trying to trade on mine. You can prove that you've actually changed instead of just saying that you have. And if you do that, maybe someday we can have a real conversation about forgiveness. But until then, I need you to respect the fact that I don't owe you anything. I understand. Marcus, I hope you find work. I hope you're successful. But I'm not going to be part of that process. After hanging up, David sat back in his chair. A year ago, he had been a disgraced employee, fired from his own family's company. Today, he was the CEO of the most successful logistics operation in Phoenix, leading a company that combined the best of Phoenix Logistics and Thompson Logistics. His phone buzzed with a text from Robert Sterling. David, Global Manufacturing just signed a 3-year extension with Thompson Logistics. You've earned our complete confidence. David smiled and looked out his window at the Phoenix skyline. The city that had given him a fresh start was now the base of his growing empire. Thompson Logistics was thriving under his leadership, employing 42 people and serving 31 major clients. He opened his desk drawer and pulled out the photo of him. Marcus and their father from the company barbecue 3 years ago. Everyone was smiling, but David could see now what he had missed then, the calculation in Marcus's eyes. The way his brother was already positioning himself for advantage. He put the photo back in the drawer and closed it. The past was the past. Thompson Logistics belonged to him now. He was going to build it into something greater than his father had ever imagined. His assistant knocked on the door. David, you have a call from a potential new client. Western Distribution wants to discuss moving their logistics operations to Thompson Logistics. David smiled. Put them through. And Maria. Block out my calendar for the rest of the afternoon. If Western Distribution is as big as I think they are, this is going to be a long conversation. As he picked up the phone, David reflected on the journey that had brought him here. A year ago, Marcus had thought he was destroying David's career. Instead, he had unleashed David's full potential. Thompson Logistics was no longer just a family business, it was David's vision of what a logistics company could be, and this was only the beginning. Gentleman, Thompson Logistics has been in our family for 32 years. What happened last week with the Martinez account is unacceptable. The words echoed through the sleek conference room in downtown Phoenix. Richard Thompson, a distinguished man in his late 50s, sat at the head of the mahogany table, his weathered hands folded as he addressed his 2 sons. Dad, I can explain what happened with the Martinez shipment. The explanation is simple. David, negligence. Pure negligence. Marcus Thompson, the older brother at 32, leaned forward with an expression of false concern. His sharp eyes held a calculating gleam as he spoke. I hate to say it, but this isn't the first time, Dad. Remember the Henderson deal 2 months ago? The delayed Portland shipment last quarter? David's jaw tightened. At 29, he had always been the more casual of the 2 brothers, but now he looked at Marcus with growing realization. Those weren't my fault, Marcus, and you know it. The Henderson contract had clauses that were changed after I reviewed them, David. Accountability is what separates successful businesses from failed ones. I've been trying to cover for you, but... Marcus spread his hands in a gesture of helplessness. After a long pause, their father delivered the crushing blow. David, I'm sorry, you're fired. Effective immediately. The words hit like a physical blow. David's face was drained of color. Dad, this company is my life. I've given everything to Thompson Logistics for 7 years. And Marcus will ensure it continues to thrive. He'll be taking over your responsibilities as operations director. Marcus tried to suppress a triumphant smile but failed. David noticed. This is about the succession plan, isn't it? Been planning this, David? How can you think that? Your brother. My brother, right? David walked toward the door, then turned back. Dad, when you figure out what really happened with those accounts, and you will remember this moment. As David left, Marcus turned to their father. I know this is hard, Dad, but it's for the best. The company needs strong leadership. Richard nodded slowly. I hope you're right, son. Really hope you're right. That evening, David sat in his modest apartment, staring at a photo of him, Marcus, and their father at a company barbecue 3 years ago. Everyone was smiling. His phone buzzed with a text from his girlfriend, Sarah Collins. How did it go? Call me? David set the phone aside without responding. He walked to his kitchen, opened the refrigerator, and stared at its contents without taking anything. 7 years. 7 years building that operations department from nothing. His phone rang. It was Sarah. He considered not answering then. Picked up. Hey, David, I've been waiting to hear from you. How did the meeting go? I'm unemployed, Sarah. What do you mean unemployed? My dear brother convinced my father that I'm incompetent. I've been fired from my own family's company. That's impossible. You practically built that operations department. You landed the 3 biggest accounts they have, and I had 3 biggest accounts. David moved to his window, looking out at the Phoenix skyline. You know what the worst part is? Marcus stood there pretending to be concerned about me while he was stabbing me in the back. David, this doesn't make sense. Your father knows your worth. Apparently not. Marcus is the golden boy now. He's taking over everything I built. What are you going to do? David was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Next morning, Marcus sat behind David's former desk, which he'd already redecorated with expensive accessories. He's on the phone, feet up on the desk. No, Mr. Patterson. I understand your concerns about the transition, but I assure you, Thompson Logistics is in excellent hands. He spun in his chair, clearly enjoying his new position. My brother, while well-intentioned, lacked the strategic vision necessary for modern logistics. You'll find my approach much more results-oriented. Through the glass wall, Jenny Martinez, the office manager, watched with concern. The Martinez account situation was an unfortunate example of the previous management's shortcomings. Under my leadership, such oversights simply won't happen. He hung up and immediately called his father. Dad, it's Marcus. I just got off the phone with Patterson from Midwest Manufacturing. He seemed satisfied with the transition. Yes, I handled it personally. Jenny approached the office and knocked on the door. Come in, Jenny. Mr. Thompson, I need to discuss the Martinez account with you. There are some discrepancies in the delivery reports that, Jenny, I'm on an important call. Whatever it is, handle it. That's what we pay you for. But, sir, this is about the reports that led to David's Jenny. Handle it. Jenny hesitated, then nodded and left. Marcus returned to his phone call. Sorry, Dad. Where were we? Next. You've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hits the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.